Secrets of the Internet Marketing Titans by Willie Crawford. Have you ever looked at one of the websites of one of the top online marketing gurus, such as this site here, which is Paul Myers, and you said to yourself, well, those guys, they're all just cross-promoting each other. Look at the testimonials. Look at who's giving testimonials to who. They're just all cross-promoting each other. Have you ever said that and sort of felt like you were left out? Have you ever thought of doing your own major product launch, and when you looked at the fact that all the big dogs were or appeared to be working together, you said to yourself, I could never break into their circles? You know, you looked and you saw this circle, what I call the circle of titans. You said, these guys are all cross-promoting each other. You ever thought that? Well, I consider myself one of the big dogs, and let me let you in on a secret. Those observations you made were somewhat accurate. However, that doesn't mean that you can't join them. The network is not a closed network. You just need to understand how it works in order to break into what I call the circle of titans. Part of what you're observing is just plain old networking. You see, top internet marketers network with each other. They network on the phone, via email, on private websites, in brainstorming sessions, and at seminars. The first thing that you have to understand is that it's human nature to want to work with those you know. All things being equal, if you're presented with two similar offers, one by someone you don't know and one by someone you've spent time getting to know, you're going to naturally want to work with the person you know. There's no point in fighting something that's human nature. You can't easily change the nature of another person or any creature for that matter, so why try swimming upstream? Instead, go with the flow and learn to work with the natural laws. Let me share with you a few stories and show you what I mean. The first one is my own story. I was a relative unknown until I started attending seminars. My first seminar was Joel Christopher's Master List Builder seminar in 2002. I met many people there that I've since done all kinds of joint ventures with. I met people there who have since invited me to participate in seminars and teleseminars. I met people there who have since introduced me to some of their very influential friends. I met and befriended people like Joe Vitale here, Alex Mandosian, Yanik Silver. I met Marlon Sanders. These are people I met at Joel Christopher's Master List Builder seminar. I met Paul Myers there for the first time. So you can see it doesn't just happen overnight. You have to actually get out and meet people. My second seminar was Dr. Bob Silver's seminar in the Florida Keys. That was in December of 2002. At that seminar, I met the guy who served as my mentor for a while and my coach, and he coached me through actually writing my second real print book. At that seminar, I also met and spent about 4 hours talking with an obscure and maybe somewhat even reclusive internet marketer by the name of John Reese. This is John right here. I spent about 4 hours one evening brainstorming with John and Ramon Williamson. This being Ramon here, who's one of the best coaches I've ever met. We were in Ramon's room and we were sitting there just brainstorming and bouncing ideas off each other until about 4 o'clock in the morning. It was absolutely incredible. At that seminar, I also met and befriended Jonathan Mizell, Frank Guerin, Fred Gleek. This is Frank. I don't think I have pictures of all the others. I met Carl Galletti at that seminar too. And we all became fairly close friends. I also met Armin Morin, I met Marty Foley, and just too many others to name. It was at that seminar that I also considered myself to have sort of stepped into the ring, if you will. I didn't consider myself an equal to these guys at that time because they all still appeared somewhat bigger than life to me. However, it was at that point that I decided I would and could become one of them. The following April, I hosted my own seminar. I invited many of these guys to speak at that seminar. It was at that time that Stephen Pierce was really big. He had just released his ebook, The Whole Truth, and at the suggestion of a friend that I frequently brainstormed with, I found Stephen. This is Stephen here. I found Stephen, and I asked him if he'd speak at my seminar. This was Stephen's first ever speaking event. He spoke at my seminar. At that first seminar that I hosted, Armin Morin spoke, and he met a young man by the name of Mark Quarles, who later wrote some of the biggest software packages that Armin now currently sells. Mark was a relative unknown at that time. He was sort of struggling, but he was listening to Armin describe some problems that he'd like to create software to solve, and Mark had already created roughly that software, and he told Armin that. So Mark and Armin later partnered, and The rest is history. Mark now partners and he's just turning out software left and right and making a lot of money. John Reese attended my first seminar. He sat in the back of the room and joked with a few of the speakers he knew. Every now and then he'd throw out a thought that had everyone in the room listening and turning around to see who was this guy that was talking. On breaks, John often had a large gathering around him. I knew that John was someone worth listening to. The things he spoke of were so radical, and yet they made so much sense. At my second seminar, we had several hot seats where a few brave souls came up front and described to the room their business plans and problems they were trying to overcome. One of these hot seat victims was Jack Humphrey. See if I can find Jack here. This is Jack. He's the co-founder of Content Desk. When Jack was on the hot seat, he shared with the room his business plans, and the entire room at the seminar critiqued Jack's business plans and sort of redirected him. We didn't see it, as he proposed, as being a viable and profitable business idea. Jack has since come out with a number of incredible products, again, the most notable being Content Desk. Some of the people that Jack met at my seminar and other seminars are now partners with him, and they're all making huge money. One of Jack's programmers is Mark Quarles. Mark was, again, at my first seminar. Are you beginning to see a pattern there? So what's my point in these stories? It's that many of the big internet successes that you see would not have happened if they had not gotten out and met other like-minded individuals and proposed working with them. Back to the point of them all appearing to work together in a circle that's hard to break into. My friend Jeff Walker, see if I can find Jeff real quick. My friend Jeff Walker is a relatively obscure individual. He's sort of a behind-the-scenes man, but I met him at, I think it was Joel Christopher's Master List Builder seminar. I'm not sure, it's not really that important, but Jeff is a mentor and coach to some of the top marketers on the internet out there. Jeff has coached and helped walk John Reese, Yanik Silver, Frank Kern, Jason Potash, Jim Edwards, Mike Long, David Fry, and a bunch of others through their own big-ticket product launches. As they were planning these product launches and they were strategizing and things like that, they all turned to Jeff. But I said Jeff's a relative unknown, but see, Jeff has already done over 25 of his own major product launches. Most of Jeff's product launches were just in a different niche. Jeff does more in the trading niche than any other niche. Jeff's actually coming out with his own major product launch on today, Friday, October 21st. Jeff's product is going to be called Product Launch Formula. It's a huge course. In this course, Jeff teaches a system for releasing big-ticket items with massive success. As I said, Jeff has released more than 25. He's released or orchestrated the release of more than 25 big-ticket items, all outside of internet marketing. So this is his first internet marketing product. In putting together the launch of his latest product, Jeff handpicked just a handful of his closest friends, and I mean close friends, and some trusted associates to become his launch partners. I felt very honored when Jeff asked me if I wanted to be one of his partners. I felt even more honored when he told me he already had a FedEx package on the way to me so that I could see the actual course. He knew that I didn't recommend or promote anything that I hadn't actually seen and tested and gone through. As an aside, I'm on a lot of internet marketers' lists. When I noticed a few of them telling their list about Jeff's courses, but also saying that they had not seen the actual course, I felt even more honored, I guess you could say. I've not only seen the course, I've listened to every CD and watched every DVD and read every manual in the course twice. Now, why would I do that? Two reasons. One is I wanted to actually absorb the course so that I had a real good feel for who the course was for and who it wasn't for. I anticipate questions from my subscribers and readers, and I want to be able to tell them whether or not I think it can really help them. The second reason is that I'm not only planning the release of my own big-ticket product in early 2006, but I'm also orchestrating the launch of a client's product that is going to be really big, as in on national television, and eventually touching millions of lives across the United States. I wanted to learn Jeff's system. Jeff points out in his system that he points out that it works for product releases and product re-releases. He points out that it works for products with any price point, and after studying the course, I'm convinced that that's true. Now let's get back to the point that I started this conversation with, though, that the gurus all work together. Jeff totally validated that point for me. You see, he featured some of his star pupils in the course. He has recorded interviews with John Reese, David Frey, Jason Potash, Jim Edwards, and Mike Long, and they're all included in the course. They all talked about how they used Jeff's tactics to do major product launches. In the interviews, they also often spoke of being on the phone with each other or over at each other's houses, strategizing. They often bounced emails off each other, and they often showed each other promotional tools they planned on using and used, and they sort of redirect each other at times. They shared what had worked well with them in their major product launches and also what had not worked so well. Because they knew and trusted each other, they were not afraid to share this information with each other. Because they were actually friends, they didn't feel that they were competing against each other. Yanik Silver and Frank Kern also consulted with Jeff and with John Reese and with the others prior to their major project launches. You see a pattern here? These guys had some of the most successful product launches in internet marketing history. They were so successful to an extent largely because they shared information on what had been proven to work for them. Sure, each threw in his own twist. Each was really a fairly good marketer, but when I look at what each did, they all incorporated the same core elements into their product launches. What all of this has taught me is that there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Launching a major product launch is a paint-by-number process that has already been thoroughly tested. I firmly believe in paint by number when it comes to do something major, something that could end up costing you money. Prior to doing my first seminar, for example, I consulted with Fred Gleek. This is Fred here. Fred conducted what he calls his seminar on seminars. Twice a year he conducts this seminar, once a year in Las Vegas, once a year in New York City. And I attended Fred's seminar prior to attempting my first seminar. You see, Fred has conducted over 1,350 events of his own. Most of these were one-day events, but he knows how to do a seminar. And so after going to Fred's seminar, I was able to pull off my own fairly successful seminar. The only thing that prevented my seminar from being more successful was the fact that I went through Fred's seminar less than a month after putting on my own seminar. If I'd gone through it much earlier, it would have been much more productive. Let me show you another friend that I consulted with prior to doing my first seminar. This will take just a second. There, that's my friend Jonathan Mizell. Jonathan is one of the pioneers of internet marketing. He was doing seminars. When I first came online, he was doing seminars years and years and years ago. He no longer does seminars. The day prior to my first seminar, Jonathan actually called me on my cell phone as I was out driving on the freeway, and he shared with me things that had gone right and things that had gone wrong with him and what to expect as I put on my very first seminar. It was incredible. I had this guy who charges a small fortune for consulting actually calling me on my cell phone and just telling me and wishing me luck and telling me what I could expect in my first seminar. See, Jonathan's one of those movers and shakers. He's in that inner circle. Not only that, he consults with major corporations, like Microsoft and companies like that. So he's one of the really, really big dogs. And I was honored, for him to be my friend and to make me feel like I was a part of that inner circle. So now you know the secret of the Internet Marketing Titans. It's simple. It's simply that we get to really know each other. That way you get a feel for who you want to work with, and you also learn to trust others who demonstrate trustworthiness and true friendship to you. But it's not a private club. Entry into this inner circle is as simple as attending a seminar or two and then taking the initiative to introduce yourself. As you introduce yourself, look for ways to help the other person rather than just feeding off the person. Look for ways that you can help the other person, and then look for ways that you can work with that person. You can propose product ideas for them, for example. Back to Jeff's course. You see, it's not really a private club. Now that you know the secret of the Internet Marketing Circles, Internet Marketing Titans, you can also enter this world. You can enter the world even as a big ticket product producer. Entering the world of the internet marketers with hugely successful product launches isn't difficult, you know. It's as simple as getting a copy of Jeff Walker's course, studying it, and then most importantly, applying it. You can use the things taught in Product Launch Formula to launch or relaunch a product in any niche. The principles he teaches are universal. As long as you're working with human beings, certain universal behaviors are hardwired into us, and Jeff just teaches you how to tap into those. He teaches you a lot of the psychological stuff that is taught by Robert Cialdini, actually, in his book, Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion. Jeff teaches you basically how to harness and direct those intrinsic reactions that we all have to certain things, and he teaches you to do it in an orchestrated fashion. So take a look at Jeff's course. He only has 500 sets made up, and since a few of his launch partners have copies already, he probably has about 475 sets available. If you grab a copy today, and it's through my link, I'll give you a couple bonuses. Let me show you my bonuses. The bonuses I'll give you are, I'll give you a 9 DVD set that I recorded at one of my workshops. Each DVD has a separate speaker on it, so you can pick a speaker that's really teaching you something you need to learn, such as copywriting or maybe creating your own software, and you can listen to the specific speakers, but you can also go through the whole course. So I'll give you this 9 DVD set when you order through my link in the next couple days. I'll also give you a 1-year membership in my members-only site at therealsecrets.com. This is a $97 value. And I'll also give you 2 months of personal one-on-one mentoring. Now, this is really priceless because my mentoring program is currently closed. I'm not advertising publicly that I'm accepting new members. Now, I in my mentoring will be available to you for unlimited telephone consultations. And what I encourage you to do is to use these 2 months with me as you're leading up to your product launch and then as you're doing the product launch. And the reason I say that is because I have the ability, through my contacts, to put you in touch with people who can make your product launch a success. If your product is a high-quality product, and if you mentor with me, it will be a high-quality product, and if it's appropriate for certain individuals, I'll put you in touch with those people. They'll be your launch partners. They'll put you in touch with other people, and we can make your product launch a major success. At the same time as I'm mentoring you, I'll be just guiding you through the whole product creation process. I've watched all of these guys do product launches, and I've watched a lot of them since the late 90s. So I know the product launch process quite well. And again, I'll be available to you for 2 full months for unlimited telephone consultations. So that's my bonus that I'm offering when you get Jeff's Product Launch Secrets course today. Again, his Product Launch Formula today. Again, he has less than 500 copies, and he's already released the product to the public, so I imagine they're just flying off the shelf. What I'll do is I'll send you over to Jeff's site right now.